And those are this week's top stories. On December 7, Taiwan's Supreme Court reversed the guilty verdicts of 3 Dayan men from the Smangus Community who had been accused of removing beech trees that had been blown over during a typhoon from a national forest. The Supreme Court ordered a retrial, citing as one of its reasons the need to recognize the rights of the indigenous peoples. It was the first time that indigenous territory was mentioned in the court of law. In October 2005, Typhoon Ari struck central Taiwan. In Hsinchu County's Smangus Community, beech trees were blown down all over the community. The Forest Bureau cleaned up the area, leaving smaller branches and the roots. After discussing the matter in their community, 3 Dayan men were assigned to bring the branches and roots back for landscaping. The 3 men were later accused of stealing national property and given guilty verdicts by Taiwan's High Court. The Smangus community protested the verdict for 2 years. Finally, on December 7, Taiwan's Supreme Court reversed the verdict and ordered a retrial. The Supreme Court stated that indigenous traditions and customs have historical and cultural meanings, and to advance fair, sustainable relations among the various ethnicities, cultural diversity should be considered and respected so that a more harmonious society would be ensured. It further stated that in indigenous territories, traditions and customs should be respected within reason to ensure the basic rights of the indigenous. It was the first time that the term indigenous territory was mentioned in the court of law.
I believe that the reversal of the guilty verdict and a retrial is a recognition of all our hard work. As our attorney says, we are finally receiving a positive response.
The verdict also observed that, as related authorities, such as the Forest Bureau and the Council of Indigenous Peoples, have not yet drawn up the regulations for indigenous activity within indigenous territory. The indigenous should not be given guilty sentences since there are no rules to follow. The case will now be sent back to the High Court for retrial. TITV Weekly.